Hi, my name is Cassie. Thank you for listening to my story during the Vinnies CEO Sleepout live stream. The money you raised will go a long way in helping other women like me. You did a great job. Thank you so much for listening to my story and for all your help.
I had the opportunity to spend a little bit of time and hear the story of Cassie earlier this week. And just like Gail, who had joined us earlier, it was a story that I took the time to listen to, because listening to people's stories is important when it comes for us to try to understand. And the one thing that I learned about Cassie's story was that more often than not, it's the result of a lived experience or trauma, a bump in the road that we all come across that leads to an unplanned path. And that can change the direction of a person's life in an instant. And for Cassie, it was the immense loss and grief of losing loved ones, losing those closest to her, not necessarily being in a position where she was able to deal with that heartbreak. She joins me now to tell more of her story and how she found herself homeless after that. Cassie, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Andrew. Thanks.
My absolute pleasure. Give me an idea about where you were, what life was like before you were homeless.
Okay, it's a bit of a long story. I'll try and keep it short. I lived with my nan and pop. They had me since I was 18 months old. My nan was my rock. I grew up in a normal house, normal home with loving grandparents. Went to normal public school. Didn't grow up in housing. I just normal house, you know. And I lost my grandfather in '91. I was 13. He died of lung cancer. That just left me and my nan. Nan was a big part of my life. Things were going fine. I got through high school. Then I came across the love of my life, who I thought was the love of my life, and that I'd be with him forever, and that it was a dream come true and a fairy tale. And we ended up having two beautiful girls. And that fairy tale came to an end. Before it came to an end, though, I ended up losing Nan, who was my lifeline, and I sort of hit rock bottom when I lost her. I went a little bit off the rails, and
Where did you find yourself?
Lost, very lost, to the point where my partner then couldn't deal with it and gave me an ultimatum to sort of I had to pull myself together or leave. And my head wasn't in the right spot. Nan meant the world to me. So I chose to leave and ended up on the doorsteps of Housing Commission with my two young kids at the time, which were 1 and 23 months.
Could you ever have imagined being there?
No, I thought my life was perfect. I thought, I thought I'd found my man that was going to look after me and my family.
And it was all going to be fine. It was all going to work itself out.
No problem. Then Mum died, and I had to take my brother on. And 6 years was a long time to have him with me, and he had a bad traumatic injury, so that also put a lot of pressure on the relationship between me and my partner, and it just
they're all out of your control, aren't they?
A lot out of my control. I ended up, after I left my partner and was at housing, we ended up being put in bed and breakfast at Burwood, and it was just me and my girls, and the bed and breakfast was full of men, and I was a single mum with two kids, but that's where they put us, and we were made to keep looking for somewhere to live. I had a folder full of at least 60 properties, but they wouldn't take us on because I was a single mum with two kids. None of the places would rent to us.
What do you do in that situation?
I cried. I didn't know what else to do. We were looking, and there was nothing I could do. We were looking all the time. I ended up finally finding a place with only a couple of days to go at Belmore. My girls and I were happy there for 6 years. It was great. I mean, the private rental was a bit much, but 6 years we weren't homeless anymore.
Yeah.
And then we ended up with an eviction letter, getting evicted on no grounds. So my girls and I were I was finding us homeless again. The only option I had was to go and stay with my girlfriend at Roselle. Wasn't the best environment for my girls. In the end, I chose to let them go and stay with their father. I just didn't want them around what was going on in the house.
How long was that for, that you didn't have your girls with?
I had to let them go for 2 years, but every day I went backwards and forwards to school and picked them up, and we'd do homework, and I'd do dinner and that at Nana's, and then...
But it's not the same, is it?
I'd say good night. Nah, it's not the same. It's not the same. Not the same at all. And then where I was living, like I said, with my girlfriend, it wasn't a very good spot. I found Donna and Roselle Vinnies, and I went up and asked her for help, that I didn't know what else to do. And lucky for me, Donna found me Rebecca, which she helped push really hard to get me in housing finally, to fix the mistake that they'd made like 12 years ago.
Do you remember what it was like walking into Vinnies that day?
I felt a bit ashamed because I'd never had to ask for help before, and I'm not one for asking for help. I don't like to ask for help. I'm good at giving it to everybody, but yeah, no, I'm not very good at asking for it. So when I had to ask, I felt really low.
What did it feel like when you got the help?
When I got the help, like the weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Donna and Roselle Vinnies, they're the best. I don't know what I'd do without them. My girls go to homework club, and they go to buddies day on the weekends to like places like the zoo and the Easter show, which I could never afford. And they've helped me with my car, Red Joe, and they've got a roof over my head for my girls now. And now we're finally settled at Glebe. We've finally been housed thanks to Donna, and I don't know what I'd do without her. Or Roselle. I think I'd be in a very different spot right now.
Why is the money being raised by the CEOs and everyone that's donating tonight so important for Vinnies?
To help people like me that can be having such a perfect life, and then the rug's just pulled out from underneath you, and then all of a sudden you really need help. And my girls are so grateful to her. They love Donna very much. They love her a lot. And they love Roselle. They love the group.
Do you think people understand just how much of an impact it has on like lives? It's not just money. It actually changes lives.
It does change lives. I don't think I'd be here now. I think I'd be in a worse spot. My girls would probably still be with their dad, and I possibly may not even be here if it wasn't for her. She saved me, and I'm still needing her help now. Still need her help now. She's very important.
Yeah.
Vinnies is very important to a lot of us.
Is there anything you want to say to encourage everyone to...
Please keep donating. Just donate.
Yeah.
People like Donna and Roselle need all the help they can get to help people like me and my beautiful girls.
Yeah. What are your girls' names?
Leah and Alicia.
You're going to need a bigger house.
Still need help. Still need Donna. Yeah, I've got a big house, full house, and I still need Donna's help.
Cassie, thank you so much for sharing the story. I know it's not easy. And I know it took a lot.
Yeah, right.
I think everybody needs to understand that it took a lot of bravery from you to come up here and tell your story. So thank you so much.
That's all right. You're welcome. I just want everybody to help out Vinnies.
Yeah.
They need all the donations they can get.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.